We need to also talk more about the financial markets. In my view, not in my view, but factually, we had a big bull market in bonds from 1981 until now. Bonds essentially went up all the time. Right now they're being driven higher by the U.S. because and all central banks are doing everything they can. In fact, the U.S. government has said that it will and is buying long-term government bonds. In my view, this is going to end badly. It's not quite a bubble yet, but you have some pretty absurd things. I cannot conceive of lending money to the United States government for 30 years in U.S. dollars at under 3%. Doesn't mean it cannot go to lower rates. It did in Japan. But I will tell you that anybody who buys government bonds anywhere right now, not anywhere, but nearly anywhere, is making a terrible, terrible mistake. This is going to end very, very badly. The Japanese did drive bonds to unbelievably low rates. The Americans could do it too. But if I were you and I owned bonds, unless they were short-term bonds, I would go home and sell the bonds. All of them. If you happen to be a bond portfolio manager, I would urge you to get another job. Because you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. Your business is going to peak sometime this year or next. And you can get out at the top, and everybody will think you were a genius for getting out at the right time. Stocks certainly in the West, we're in a great bull market too throughout the 80s and 90s. In my view, that bull market has come to an end. That bull market ended in the year 2000. It's basically, we're at a big trading range, which will continue for years to come, and it might even get worse than a trading range. Some of you remember that in 1929, we had a stock market bubble which burst. We were in the process of having a normal recession, and then the politicians around the world started making mistakes, starting in the U.S. And as you know, the politicians made mistakes, and they turned it into the Great Depression, which was a horrible period for at least 10 years. The way things are going right now, in my view, the American government, the English government, and other governments are making terrible mistakes. This is not the plan that they've projected at the moment. It's not going to work. The idea that you can solve a period of excess borrowing and excess consumption with more borrowing and more consumption and destroying more balance sheets, to me is ludicrous on its face. The Japanese tried it. It didn't work. In the 1990s, the Americans tried it in the 70s. It didn't work. It's never worked. But that's, they're the ones doing it. And that's the path which they have chosen. So I don't think this is going to work. I would prepare yourself, if you are an equity investor, to be very worried about what's going to happen in the future and probably start getting out.